Unfortunately, we weren't talking when she passed. She wasn't talking to Timbaland, or I think her and Missy fell out as well. Things happen in, in your relationships, and you just move forward. I'm not going to touch on that. You just move forward, and you never let nothing or no one have that much power over you where it lowers you.
Ginuwine just confirmed the awful rumors that have been flying around, and it's a bombshell. So what's the story? Apparently, he and Aaliyah had a falling out, mainly due to tensions with her uncle and manager, Hankerson. And sadly, they never made peace before her untimely death.
Her and I weren't seeing eye to eye, you know what I mean? And I think it had a lot more to do with her loyalty to her uncle than it had to do,
Who you were beefing with at the time, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But that wasn't the only feud. Ginuwine also fell out with Timbaland, who reportedly wasn't supportive and didn't want to continue working with him. On top of that, Ginuwine faced personal struggles, losing both parents and turning to substance abuse, which deeply affected his life and career.
My dad committed suicide, shot himself in the head, 99, and then my mom died the next year, 2000, right? So needless to say, come on, man, like you're gonna go through.
There's clearly more he could spill. Let's dive in. Ginuwine recently shared what really happened between him and the late singer Aaliyah. Many people believe there was some kind of fight or argument between them, but he said it was just a misunderstanding.
We all was, like a family, Missy, Timbaland, her, myself, Magoo, Player, Tweet, all of them.
He explained that they didn't really have a big problem. The reason they stopped talking was because of Aaliyah's uncle, Hankerson. Barry was not just her uncle, but also her manager. He also managed Ginuwine and owned the music label called Blackground Records. Ginuwine decided to leave the label, and that's when things started to change between him and Aaliyah.
Her and I weren't seeing eye to eye, you know what I mean? And I think it had a lot more to do with her loyalty to her uncle than it had to do,
Who you were beefing with at the time, or?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Ginuwine said that they were once like a big family. He worked closely with Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Aaliyah, Magoo, Playa, and Tweet. They made music together and were very close. But when he left the label, he felt like Aaliyah didn't understand why. He believed that Aaliyah was loyal to her uncle, so she stood by him. That loyalty may have made her think Ginuwine did something wrong. Ginuwine felt sad about that because he didn't leave to hurt anyone. He just made a decision that was best for his own career. Still, he believed someone might have told Aaliyah a story that wasn't true about him.
Of course, her loyalty is to her family. And so, that's where it pretty much stemmed from. We ain't had no beef or nothing. It's a woman. I ain't beefing with no girl.
Ginuwine also shared that he and Aaliyah never had a real argument. They just drifted apart. He said he would never fight with a woman like that. He believed the problem happened because they spent less time together, and things got distant. They were no longer close like they used to be. He wanted to tell her his side of the story, but he never got the chance. Sadly, Aaliyah died before they could talk things out and fix their friendship. Ginuwine felt bad about that and wished they had made peace. Later, something very emotional happened. Missy Elliott, who was also a friend to both of them, told Ginuwine about a dream she had. In the dream, Aaliyah came to her and said that she forgave Ginuwine. When Missy told him that, he broke down and cried. It meant a lot to him. Even though it was just a dream, it gave him peace. He felt like Aaliyah's spirit was telling him not to worry anymore. It helped him move forward and let go of the guilt he felt for not making up with her before she died.
But Missy came and she told me one time she had a dream that Aaliyah said, "Don't worry about it, she forgive me," and I cried.
Ginuwine also talked about Aaliyah's career. He said she was very talented and had so much potential. She was not only a singer, but she was also acting in movies and dancing. He believed that if she was still alive, she could have become as big as Beyoncé. She was already doing big things and going in the right direction. Ginuwine felt sad because the world would never know just how far Aaliyah could have gone. Her life was cut short, and that was the worst part of it all.
I'm just a woman, okay? So on that score, you would date me, wouldn't you?
Not if you told me you was trans.
No, I'm not telling you I'm trans.
Ginuwine faced backlash after refusing to kiss trans woman on TV 7 years ago on a show called Celebrity Big Brother UK. Singer Ginuwine was involved in a big argument that made people online take sides. The problem started when India Willoughby, a transgender woman who was also on the show, asked Ginuwine a personal question.
Woman.
Would I go out with
woman? You would go out with a woman?
Yes, of course.
But you wouldn't go out with a transsexual?
No.
She asked him if he would date a transgender woman. India told him, "I'm a woman. Forget the trans part." She wanted to know if Ginuwine would date her as a woman, not thinking about her past.
If you're in my situation and you are trying to date, there is an extremely narrow band.
Ginuwine answered honestly. He said, "Not if you told me you was trans." India then said, "No, I'm not telling you I'm trans. I'm a woman." Ginuwine agreed and said, "A woman? Yeah." But when India leaned in and tried to kiss him, Ginuwine pulled back quickly and didn't let her kiss him. That moment was shown on TV, and soon people were talking about it all over social media. After this happened, many people on the internet had strong opinions. Some people said Ginuwine was being rude and disrespectful to transgender women. They said he was being transphobic, which means someone who doesn't accept transgender people. One person online said that Ginuwine was acting like most straight men who won't date trans women. Others said he was being unfair to all transgender women by saying he would not date any of them. Another person online wrote that even though India was sometimes mean, Ginuwine had no right to say he would never date a trans woman. They said it made it seem like trans women were not good enough to be dated. Some people were very upset, saying his words hurt the feelings of all transgender women, even those who were not on the show. But not everyone agreed. Other people supported Ginuwine. They said he had the right to choose who he wants to date. One of the other cast members, Malika Haq, stood by Ginuwine. She said he wasn't doing anything wrong. She believed that no one should be forced to date or kiss someone they don't want to. Many fans also agreed with Malika. One woman online said that Ginuwine was just making a personal choice, just like India did when she said she wouldn't date a woman. Some people also pointed out that Ginuwine barely knew India. They said it was strange for someone to try to kiss another person on live TV when they were not even in a relationship. One person said that if someone kisses people they don't know well, that could be a problem too. Ginuwine used to be close with Timbaland.
Things happen in your relationships, and you just move forward. I'm not going to touch on that. You just move forward, and you never let nothing or no one have that much power over you where it lowers you.
They worked together many years ago and made big hits. Songs like Pony helped Ginuwine become famous, and Timbaland's beats were fresh and new. People loved their sound. Back then, they were a strong team. Ginuwine trusted Timbaland, and Timbaland helped Ginuwine's career. But over time, things changed. In a talk with Vibe magazine, Ginuwine spoke honestly about how he felt hurt by Timbaland. He said their friendship is not the same anymore.
We had the same management for a while, and then once I broke away from that management, he distanced himself from me a little bit. That hurt me.
In 2009, Ginuwine released a new album called A Man's Thoughts.
To all my fans, I want to thank you for supporting me for the last 13 years. This one's for you. This is Man's Thoughts.
He was excited about the project. He worked hard on it and wanted it to do well. Timbaland produced one of the songs on that album. Because of that, Ginuwine thought Timbaland would help promote the album, but that didn't happen. Timbaland didn't show much interest in helping. He didn't support Ginuwine the way Ginuwine expected. That really hurt his feelings. Ginuwine said he felt ignored and left out. He felt like Timbaland just didn't care anymore.
I was a little jealous of some of the stuff that he was doing for Justin Timberlake.
Ginuwine said that he kept trying to talk to Timbaland. He called him and sent messages. He wanted to fix things and make sure they were still cool, but every time he reached out, Timbaland had an excuse. Sometimes it was, "I'm too busy." Other times, there was no answer at all. Ginuwine said he even begged and pleaded with him. He felt confused and sad because Timbaland wasn't acting like a friend anymore. He started to think maybe he was imagining things, but in the end, he realized it was real. Timbaland didn't want to help. That's why Ginuwine still feels like he deserves an apology. Ginuwine said he would have been fine if Timbaland had just said no from the start. If he had said, "I can't help right now," Ginuwine would have understood. But instead, Timbaland agreed, took part, then disappeared when it mattered most. That made Ginuwine angry. He said it's not fair to do something halfway and then disappear. If you agree to do something, you should follow through and help promote it, especially when it's someone you've known for a long time. Some people said that Timbaland had sold out. They believed he left his old music style behind and started working only with pop stars like Justin Timberlake and Nelly Furtado. But Ginuwine didn't fully agree with that. He said he understood that Timbaland was doing business. He said it makes sense to go where the money is. That's what smart business people do. But Ginuwine also said, you should not forget where you came from. You should not turn your back on the people who helped you in the beginning. He felt like Timbaland forgot about him and their history together. That's what hurt the most.
I'm going to continue, you know what I mean, regardless of who it is that I work with or not work with. My focus is to be successful, and that's what I'm going to do.
Ginuwine asked, "What is it about me now that you don't like?" He said if there was a problem, Timbaland should have just told him the truth. Ginuwine said he can handle the truth. What he couldn't handle was the silence, the excuses, and the lack of support. He felt like that wasn't what a real man does. He said real men are honest. Real friends talk things out. That's why Ginuwine said he didn't really like Timbaland anymore. He felt betrayed, not just as an artist, but as a friend.
You just lift yourself above that and keep moving forward, and that's what I choose to do. That's what being a man is, and just moving forward and being sure of yourself.
Back in October 2009, they had a fight about the music video for a song called Get Involved.
Get down, come on, girl, get involved with me, get down.
Timbaland didn't want to appear in the video. That made things even worse. Later, in April 2010, Ginuwine spoke again and said he was still upset. Ginuwine later said he had paid over $50,000 to make sure Timbaland would appear in that music video. That was a lot of money, but Timbaland still didn't show up. Because of that, they couldn't release the single properly in the US. The song was released overseas instead, and they used a cartoon version for the video. That really upset Ginuwine because he had invested money, time, and energy into that project, and it all went to waste because of Timbaland's lack of support. In 2011, Timbaland finally responded. He spoke in an interview and said he didn't mean to hurt Ginuwine. He said maybe Ginuwine felt abandoned, but that was never his plan. Timbaland said Ginuwine was like a brother to him. But he also said that once other people got involved, like managers and record labels, the whole relationship changed. It wasn't just about music anymore. It became about business, and that messed things up. Even though things had gone badly, Ginuwine said later that year that he and Timbaland were talking again, a little. He said they sometimes spoke on Twitter. He even said he hoped they could work together again, maybe with Missy Elliott too. He said they could still make that magic they once had if they got back in the studio together. But he also made it clear that he was still hurt and still waiting for things to feel right again.
Get down, come on, girl, get involved with me, get down.
Ginuwine has spoken honestly about his long struggle with drugs and alcohol. For many years, fans noticed that something was wrong, but now Ginuwine has shared his truth. His problems started many years ago when he went through a very painful time in his life. In 1999, Ginuwine's father took his own life. Not long after, his mother passed away from cancer.
My dad committed suicide, shot himself in the head, 99, and then my mom died the next year, 2000, right? So needless to say, come on, man, like you're gonna go through.
Losing both parents so close together was too much for him to handle. He felt heartbroken and empty inside. To cope with the pain, he turned to alcohol and drugs. He started using marijuana and ecstasy. At first, it helped him feel numb, but after a while, it only made things worse. He explained that the grief was so strong, he didn't want to talk to anyone. Even when he tried seeing a psychiatrist, he admitted he showed up high. He didn't take therapy seriously because he felt too broken inside. He said he was mentally and emotionally done. He felt like no one around him could really understand how deep his sadness was. Instead of getting help, he kept using drugs and drinking alcohol. For a long time, he was hiding his pain, but it was hurting him more and more. He said that he felt alone during that time and didn't have close people around who could comfort him. That loneliness pushed him deeper into substance use. He said he didn't want to feel anything anymore. He didn't care about life, and he just wanted to forget the pain. The drugs and drinking made him forget for a little while, but they never helped him heal. Over time, his drug use started to affect his music and public appearances. One moment that fans remember happened in 2013 when Ginuwine appeared with his TGT group members on a live TV show called The Couch. During the interview, he acted strangely. He kept blinking his eyes, rocking back and forth, and moving his legs. Many people started talking and wondering if he was high. That moment was one of the first times the public saw how serious his addiction might be. He talked about how it hurt not only his health, but also his career. He said the turning point came when a friend stepped in and begged him to get help. At first, he didn't think it would work, but that friend's love and concern made a difference. Even though therapy didn't help him much, he said getting close to God helped him start the healing process.
They used to go to church, and my makeup for not going to church, I used to buy them flowers every Sunday when they go to church.
Oh, you buy the flowers?
So when they go to church, I go to the store, I'll buy them flowers.
He began to pray and think about his life. He thought about his children and how they would feel if he died the same way his father did. That thought scared him and pushed him to change.
And so there was just one Sunday that, I felt moved to go to the front.
Ginuwine recently shared that he is now 2 months sober. He posted a message on Instagram to celebrate this big step. Even though 2 months might not sound like a long time to some people, to him, it meant everything. In his post, he said that staying sober, even for a short time, is a big win. He said it made him proud of himself. He talked about standing 10 toes down, which means he didn't give up, even when things were hard. He reminded people that it's okay to ask for help. He said that support is very important when you are going through something this tough. In his message, he also said positive things to himself. He wrote that he is strong, worthy, and deserves better in life. He said that he knows what he's fighting for now. He said it was not easy, but he is glad he didn't give up. At the end of his message, he gave advice to others who are struggling with addiction. He told them to look deep inside themselves and believe that they are stronger than their addiction. He said, "You are me." This means if he can get clean, then others can too. He called them super and told them to get up and keep going. Many fans and celebrities supported him after he shared his post. Actor Pooch Hall, who has also been sober for years, welcomed him to the Sober Club. He said it's one of the best clubs to be a part of. Singer Omarion and Ginuwine's former group member Tank also shared kind words. Tank called him Superman and told him to keep going. Fans also commented, saying they respected him for being honest and open. They said it takes a real man to speak up like that.
Let me go.
Ginuwine sat down for an open and honest conversation about his life. He talked about getting married, what people think about him, using drugs in the past, and how he is doing now. He didn't try to sound perfect, he just spoke from the heart. Back in the day, he said he was just a fun-loving guy. He only wanted to sing, enjoy life, and meet a lot of women. That was the life he wanted at the time, and he lived it fully. Looking back, he said if he had died, he would have felt like he had a great ride. He lived the life he dreamed of and had no regrets about those fun days. When people ask him about misunderstandings others have about him, he brings up a big one. Many people think he is full of himself or conceited. They assume he is arrogant, but he says that's not who he really is. He describes himself as silly and down to earth. People who are close to him are often surprised at how humble and funny he is. They sometimes say, "Man, if I looked like you, I'd be conceited too." He laughs at that but stays true to himself. Even in high school, he had to prove that he wasn't stuck up. That image followed him through the years. But the truth is, he's always just been a regular guy trying to enjoy life. Ginuwine also talked about the early days of his music career. He remembered hanging out in the basement with Missy Elliott and others. That time was full of energy and fun. It felt like a real family. But like many families, they had problems. Sometimes there were arguments and fights. He remembered a big incident where chairs were being thrown and Missy almost got hit in the head. It was serious and scary. His bodyguards even smacked a few people during the fight. After that, it felt like the end of something special. Even after that moment, Ginuwine stayed a little longer than Missy and Timbaland. He said he felt loyal because the person who brought him into the business had helped him. He didn't want to walk away too soon. But Missy kept calling him, telling him to leave and do better for himself. She believed in him. She said he had too much talent to waste. Finally, he listened to her advice and moved on, which led to bigger and better things for him. He also talked about a problem he had with Timbaland. At one point, there was tension between them over a song. The label told Ginuwine some things that might have been true, or maybe not. He admitted that when something goes wrong and it's close to him, he gets emotional. Sometimes he says things he later regrets, but now everything is cool between him and Timbaland. They are on good terms again. He even said he hopes they will work together in the future because he still thinks Timbaland is one of the best music producers in the world. These days, Ginuwine is doing okay. He recently got out of his music deal and is now a free agent. That means he's not tied to any record label. He has new management now and is working on getting a new deal. He hopes to share more news about that soon. Also, he and his wife are working on a reality show. It seems like a lot of exciting things are happening for him.